Hi Jane, it's really good to see you again. Come on in.
Hey, how are you doing? Thank you.
Would you like a cup of tea, water, or coffee before we get
I
started?
got my bottle of water here. Thank you.
Okay, alright. I guess just make sure you're comfortable. And as always, this is a safe space. If you need to take a breather or the toilets, you know where they are. Just let me know at any stage, okay?
Thank you.
How have you been feeling since our last session?
Okay. Look, I'm feeling a bit nervous, so.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. Thanks for letting me know that. I guess just today, as we discussed in our last session, we're going to focus on the IGS, which is the Inventory of Gambling Situations. And we'll just take it step by step. If you're not sure of anything or you have any questions as we go, just let me know. I guess the purpose of this is just to understand the situations where gambling might be more likely or harder to resist, and how we can work together to develop strategies that might support the change that you want to make. And then towards the end of our session, we'll work through a case plan. We'll kind of get a draft version ready, and this is just something that is practical and tailored to support you in reducing your gambling. How does that sound, and do you have any questions at this stage?
That sounds okay, and no, I have no questions at the moment.
Okay. I guess before we get into it, I just want to double check on your current goal around gambling. Last time we discussed the idea of reducing your gambling, not stopping entirely. Is that still the goal that you'd like to work towards?
Yeah, no, I don't think I could stop totally. Just want to reduce it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good, and it's just as important. I guess I just like to get a sense of what reducing looks like for you. So, for example, are you aiming to limit how often you gamble, or how much you spend, or is it a bit of both?
A bit of both. I was thinking try and cut it down to maybe twice a week.
Yeah.
And maybe $100 each time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just starting to get out of control.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a really helpful starting point. And I guess it shows that you're already setting limits and thinking things through. So yeah, that's a really good place to work from. Okay. Alright, so I do have a printed copy of the Inventory of Gambling Situations report here, and there's one for you too also.
Thank you.
We'll take a look at the areas where you scored the highest. These are often the situations where people feel most vulnerable to gambling, and check whether they reflect your experience. And as I said, as we go along, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Right.
I will take some notes too as we go, just to jot down things for the case plan, okay?
That's fine.
Alright. Alright, we'll start with the negative emotions. So you scored highest in this category. So it suggests that gambling is more likely when you're feeling down, lonely, or overwhelmed. Does that feel accurate for you?
Definitely. I often go when I feel overwhelmed or down. It's just my way of coping.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's a common pattern that we see. I guess it's like a way to cope when things feel heavy emotionally for you.
Yeah, that's it. I just go away, and just gambling is my go-to thing. It's an escape for me.
Yeah, okay. And maybe what we could do in this instance is what are some other things that help you manage stress or sadness when you're not gambling? I guess, for example, what are the things that helped you manage those feelings in the past?
Look at going for a walk, watch a movie, give my sister a call, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it just might be about incorporating them more into your life. Maybe as gambling has, played more of an important role, they've gone by the wayside a bit. So when you're feeling low, it might be choosing one of those activities first. Just to kind of just either to delay or distract you for a period of time. Maybe we can make a list of options together, and you can keep them, and you can always add or remove this, things as we go along.
All right.
Okay. All right. That's some good notes there. All right. Okay, the next one was the need for excitement. So this one suggests you might gamble when you're bored or looking for something fun, maybe especially when life feels maybe a bit boring.
Yeah, look at yes. I work, come home, and that's it. Gambling then is kind of the only thing that's not so boring. It just gives me a bit of excitement trying to figure out what I want to do or what thing I want to bet on, and then the excitement goes out of that too quickly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So maybe part of your plan might be looking at ways we can build more meaning into your life, and this really is kind of similar, I guess, in the ways your negative emotions is just about building those behavioural aspects and non-gambling activities, whether it's going for walks or weekend adventures, or it depends what you enjoy. What would you find exciting or get enjoyment out of other than gambling?
Right, yeah.
Okay, the next section. Yeah, alright, so we'll add that can be part of the list of non-gambling alternatives. So the next section was winning and chasing, so this also was another high one for you. So this score showed an urge to keep gambling after winning or trying to win back money you've lost. Would you say that happens for you?
Oh, definitely, look, that's the worst part to it.
Yeah.
I always think I can win it back.
Yeah.
Until I've no money left.
Okay, yeah. Alright. Yeah, I really appreciate how honest you've been. Like it shows you've got a lot of self-awareness, which is very important for change. Maybe to help with this one, we could think of, could be maybe some self-talk techniques, like reminding yourself, stopping now protects my progress, or maybe setting some time and money limits before going out, have that decision made before you go out and sticking to them. There's a lot of other ones, like limiting the amount of cash you carry when you go out, if you know you're going to go gamble, not carrying debit or credit cards, things like that. Could even be having a list or a note in your wallet or your phone, wherever is easy for you to access, to remind you what matters more than gambling. Would you try, I guess, a gambling diary or a logbook where you record when you stick to your limits?
Yeah, I think that could help.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Alright, so the urges and temptations is next, and this was kind of, I guess, the final high score, which reflects the strong urges when you're around gambling cues, like walking past a pub or being online. Would you say that's accurate?
I definitely just, if I'm in a pub with something, next thing you can hear it in the back of your head.
Yeah.
The noise from the pokie machines and the lights flashing and everything, just it's calling me.
Yeah, yeah. And that's very common, and it's a very powerful association. So that might be adding some urge management strategies in, like avoiding high risk locations. You can install gambling block apps such as BetBlocker, delay techniques, and maybe delay action 15 minutes, and distraction, like what we mentioned earlier, if it's going for a walk or calling, just to distract and delay that.
To get away, the apps.
Would you be open to using gambling block apps on your phone?
If you think that help, yeah, it's more. I mean, the pubs and pokies go off as well, than the other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to control myself better.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. Okay, now the next ones, they didn't score as high, but it is just good just to be aware of them anyway, and we can discuss them as we go along if you need. So conflict with others. So this score suggests that you may gamble after arguments or interpersonal stress. Would you say conflict with family or friends have ever pushed you towards gambling?
Oh, definitely. If I'm in an argument with my son, I just head off to go gambling just to cool off, just to give ourselves a bit of space.
Yep. Okay. So maybe we could look at some de-escalation strategies, such as calming techniques. Which could be a walk or removing yourself or writing down how you're feeling. maybe even communication supports, and just that emotional regulation. And maybe as we go along, if you feel that becomes more prominent, we might discuss what might be the proper supports for that. If you feel like it could be even, counselling or psychology referrals or something like that.
Okay.
So we have testing personal control. So this is about gambling, just to see if you can stop. This score was quite moderate, so I'm not too sure if it's too relevant to your situation. But do you feel, does that apply to you?
Not really.
Yeah. Okay. So I can hear it's not really a concern. All right. There was also social pressure. So this was another moderate score. So this is, for example, gambling to fit in or under peer pressure. Maybe this might be more relevant for you. Maybe you've had a party or with certain friends. Would you say that you experience peer pressure though?
Maybe if at parties with friends or that.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say I don't experience peer pressure. It's more just wanting to keep hanging out, but it's not that I want to do it. Yeah.
It's just part of the
scene at the time.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd say you have good, I guess, supportive friends that support you, that would be supportive of you through this.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we have confidence and skill. So this is a belief in your ability to win through skill. This score kind of reflects that you don't really believe this, that you don't think gambling is skill based.
No, I think it's purely down to chance.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. Then we have urges when winning. So this is about strong urges after winning, feeling invincible. Would you say, does that happen to you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. If I win, I think I'm on a roll. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. Alright. So for that, it might be maybe practicing. You win and then you walk away. You don't keep staying there. And that does take a bit of practice, and it's not as easy as just saying that.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be using a timer when you enter, like I'm here for this amount of time, and maybe arranging to either have dinner with your son or whether it's with your sister so that you have somewhere to be afterwards.
That's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
A lot of things to think of.
Yeah. Or it could be, celebrating other ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe, treat, so some other treat. And then the final one is confidence in stopping. So this was a low score as well, but this is basically around your doubting your ability around stopping. Does that reflect how you feel?
It does. Like all the things and mechanisms that you've mentioned to me.
Yeah.
They feel challenging to be able to try to think of all them and putting the right one in place at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm scared I'll fail.
Yeah. Look, that takes a lot of strength to name that. And you've really taken a lot of big steps by being here. We've met a few times now. And that's always, with any dependencies, it's always in the back of anyone's mind. And maybe that's about building, that your own self-belief and celebrating the little wins. And maybe even, measuring your progress as we go along.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so I guess based on that, we can put it all together in a case plan. And so today we'll just do up the draft. We'll get some goals together. I like to start with 3 goals and get some strategies with it and some time frames in place, but we'll just put a draft together today and then we can build on it, and maybe when we come back next week we'll have it finalised and we'll sign it and we'll start it from there then, okay?
Okay.
But you can still use this time frame in between the 2 sessions to, start getting planning and
getting my head into
action. Yeah, having some actions in place. Okay, so the plan is to reduce. So the first goal, because you mentioned, might be twice a week, 2 times a week. So maybe reducing the amount of gambling from 5 days a week to 2 times a week for the next 3 months. We also will maybe do a goal around the negative emotions, because that scored quite high. And maybe another goal around, you know, the need for excitement. So maybe around building up those healthy activities. If that
Right,
sounds to start. And then as we go along, we can always add, or if you feel like some are not really relevant anymore, might add in new goals if there's something else that you would rather change or add in as we go along.
Yeah.
So it's basically, it's your plan. It's whatever goals you want to work towards. You've done a lot of reflecting today and problem solving, and even doing the adventure of gambling situation as well, reflecting on what's important for you. So now I guess we'll just write down some of what we've discussed today to give us a bit of a guide and something to refer back to. How does that sound?
Yeah, no, look, it's a bit scary, but also good to see it being laid out, a bit of a roadmap.
Yep, okay, yeah. Alright. So, I'll jot down some of the strategies you mentioned. So just to go over them, I guess you'll maybe gamble at the pokies 2 designated days per week with a maximum spend of $100. Close your online gambling accounts on your phone, and maybe download the Block Gambling app on your phone as well. Also track urges and your spending in a journal. Another good suggestion, again this is just a suggestion, it could be maybe lowering the daily withdrawal limit on your credit or debit card if you haven't done that already. And then for your negative emotions, it could be maybe, you know, using a daily mood journal to track, you know, your emotional states and how they relate to the gambling urges. And as we go along in our sessions together, our counselling sessions, we can explore triggers and develop healthy coping tools, you know, for depression and loneliness. And maybe start by practicing grounding techniques as well, you know, some of those behavioural aspects, including, you know, maybe breath work. There's a lot of YouTube clips. I'll send you some stuff by email, and you can pick what suits you best. There's a lot of apps as well, like Relax app, Calm, things like that. There's also peer support groups. Is that something that you would be open to?
And see, I'm a bit nervous about that at the minute.
Okay. I think it would be really good, given that you've mentioned, you know, loneliness is a trigger. It might be good just to meet other people who are going through the similar experience, and learn from and connect with them. But yeah, I guess we'll add a few more bits into it, but overall, how are you feeling about what we've talked about today and the plan that we started to develop?
Yeah, because I keep saying it, but yeah, it's a bit scary. But yeah, it lets me know what I need to do. It's all been laid out.
Yeah, and I guess it's about, you know, how you want things to be different, and what will take to make it happen. And it will be a period of change for you. It will be uncomfortable. Change often is, but it's just about maybe over time building those new habits. And it's a flexible plan, you know, it's not set in stone.
Yeah.
We'll check in regularly to review how things are going, what's working and what isn't, and adjust as needed, okay?
Okay.
And I guess too, just in regards to our service here, so I can support you with counselling in regards to your gambling and any triggers and urges and, you know, managing that. Referral to peer groups as well, and any behavioural strategies. We don't offer financial counselling, but if you feel like you need that, you know, we can help you access and link you in with the right services, if that's something you would like as we go on. Okay, are you okay if we check in again next week, same day, same time, and I'll have the case plan finalised and we can review it and then go from there?
That sounds good, yeah, and at the same time works for me as well.
Yeah, Alright, and I'll send you a summary of what we've discussed today, so we can just start the process going and have a bit of a think around activities, things that you might like to do as well, and we can add them in. Alright, okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being open and honest today, Jane. Yeah, it's a huge step forward to taking back some control, okay?
Okay, cheers.
Alright, thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Have a good week.